Going on, everybody? This Afro think tank. So Donald Trump is begging the Supreme Court to allow him to fire Federal Reserve President Lisa Cook, a black woman. Because, you know, Donald Trump is on a campaign to fire as many black people as humanly possible out of his white administration. Because only white people are qualified for all these positions. See, the thing is, in the United States of America, there are positions in the government that the president doesn't have the right to fire, right? Because we have checks and balances where we're supposed to. Because right now, the Republicans have enabled this inept neo-Nazi to do whatever he wants. And now he's begging the Supreme Court, which, by the way, stupid-ass voters who voted Donald Trump in, right, allowed him for almost 10 years to put in right-wing Christian conservative Supreme Court justices who would do anything racist, white, neo-Nazi, American nativists want him to do. See, elections have consequences. So when you say you don't want to vote, keep in mind, sitting on a couch is basically working for the enemy, because you allow your opposition to put lifetime appointed Supreme Court justices and all other kind of Supreme justices within the judiciary and throughout America to promote right-wing Christian conservative values and allow them to legislate from the bench in the states and on the federal government. So because this position, Donald Trump is not allowed, because the president is not allowed to just fire anybody, even though only thing Donald Trump is good for is firing and fucking shit up, right? He literally had a whole show where they sat this old geezer down and he just fired people, you know, and that's what he's famous for, you know, before he became the firing people, right? That's all the firing people. That's what he does. That's his solution to everything. Let me just fire him. Let me just fire him. And how many black people has he fired so far? Over 30,000 black women, and he's trying to get rid of this one because she's powerful. And she tells the truth about America's finances. He also fired the white guy who was telling the truth about America's finances, because he wants to be able to get on camera and lie to the American people without any checks and balances from the professionals, right? That job is to tell the truth to the American people. If you notice, everybody around him are stooges. If you notice, every single woman in his position is some stereotypical blondie, right? Somebody he would be attracted to. If you not notice, look at all the positions. They're like, every one of these females in his administration look like they play one on TV. Every one of them. The most unqualified administration we've ever had in the history of America. All because they look the part, like they would be playing it on an ABC news special or some shit like that, or ABC news show, or ABC fake freaking primetime TV show or something. Every single one of them, all the way down to his goddamn Secretary of the White House. They all got the stereotypical, beautiful, blonde, symmetrical look. Have you not noticed? Have you not noticed? Right? But anyway, here's another example of Donald Trump trying to fire qualified black women because they get in the way of the propaganda that he would like to push. That everything's great. Tariffs don't hurt anybody. America is booming. $1 trillion is coming in. You know, everything that you're feeling, you're not feeling. Everything that you're seeing, you're not seeing. Do you not see the authoritarianism? You do know this is how it happens in other countries, right? Those countries we like to judge, right? They say, oh, look at them third world. These are third world actions coming from third world people. All right. Do you know Donald Trump's mom was born in Scotland? Did you know that? Donald Trump's mother was born in Scotland. He's not even a foundational white American. All right. And of course, his goddamn daddy is a goddamn German. We got these non-foundational white Americans coming over here just ruining what we got going on over here. All right. He ain't got nothing to do with the history of America. All right. He's an anchor baby. We got this anchor baby neo-Nazi as the president of the United States, and he's just fucking everything up. Anyway, without further ado, let me put this information here. You guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Just Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Well, in other news, President Donald Trump is taking his fight to fire Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook all the way to the Supreme Court. He's asking the High Court to clear the way to remove her from the board entirely, which would change the face and the voting makeup of that board. Of course, this comes one day after the Fed cut interest rates for the first time in, 9 months? Mr. Trump says he fired Cook on the grounds that she committed mortgage fraud. Well, Cook fired back, denying this and says the president doesn't have the authority to fire her. So let's bring in CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady, who broke that news for us in the last hour on CBS News 24/7. What could that mean for the courts, for the Federal Reserve Board, and for ultimately the decision going forward?
So this was an unexpected next step because, in fact, the appeals court, which was sort of the last step in the legal process before it would go to the Supreme Court, just hours before the Federal Reserve Board started meeting, said, hey, Lisa Cook can continue in her position. So she was one of the folks in the room when all of that was happening this week. So the Supreme Court will still have to take up that case, but if they were to take that case up and rule with the president, this would give him the power to fire Cook. And it's not just about the Federal Reserve. There's been a lot of questions about the president's power to fire individuals in these sort of independent institutions from the White House. And it's always for cause, but the law is just so vague when it comes to cause that any ruling by the Supreme Court there would really set a legal precedent going forward for these types of personnel moves, whether there is a Republican or a Democrat in the White House. Now, if they were to rule against the president, just that very same thing, it would really limit and define what cause is and what the president would be able to do moving forward, whether it be with the Federal Reserve and maybe even Chair Powell or some of the other organizations. What it means for us at home in terms of interest rates is if the Supreme Court were to take up this case and rule with the president and be able to fire Lisa Cook, that would give the president the power to put one more person in that room that would likely see interest rates the same way that he does. Now, it's supposed to be an independent position, and these terms are for a decade at least, and so you normally have these people appointed by different administrations, but then they stay on for much longer, and they do look at the data. But that's sort of the concern, that there would be one more person in the room that the president would get to appoint. And his most recent appointee, Stephen Myron, who just replaced Adriana Kugler, who stepped down recently, voted for a half-point rate cut, more along the lines of what the president was looking to see.
All right, so we know that you were live for us yesterday at the New York Stock Exchange. I've got to imagine there's some new reporting on NVIDIA that is catching your attention and also the attention of investors today on the stock exchange.
It is. So NVIDIA, I just looked, is up about 3 to 4%. But the bigger stock that is moving right now is Intel, right? The famed chip maker. You go back a couple of decades or so, they've been down and out, really missed the wave when it comes to this artificial intelligence revolution. Their stock, though, up 29% right now, Reed. And that is because NVIDIA has announced that it will invest $5 billion worth or buying $5 billion worth of stock for a stake in the company. And they are going to co-develop specific chips for PC and AI use. They haven't released a lot of details. There's actually going to be a press conference in about 23 minutes that starts. We're going to hear from both CEOs. But Intel also recently just received an investment from the U.S. government. Over the past couple of months, Intel has been essentially given a lifeline when it comes to cash and belief in their ability, and they are becoming now a player, at least in the conversation, when it comes to developing these AI chips.
Fascinating times. Kelly, I cannot wait for our conversation tomorrow because, of course, we know President Trump will be speaking with Chinese President Xi. As we talk about chips, you really make me think about what could be TikTok and the sale of TikTok. I can't wait. Counting the hours, 24 hours.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Wait. Before you go, for all my subscribers and philanthropists out there, I'm building a solar power community water bowl system in Nigeria. It's going to cost between $5,000 and $6,000. I'm trying to raise money. If you want to participate and help me build this solar power water system, please donate to the Cash App and put solar water in the notes. Solar water in the notes. I'll put PayPal, Stripe, and Zelle. Anyway, thank you. That's all I got to say. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out. Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.